Huge, pivotal, explosive day for Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, as there will be a summary judgment hearing in their civil case. This is crazy. So, over the past couple of days, there has been a slew of filings that have been unsealed in this case, revealing back and forth text messages between Blake Lively, Taylor Swift, Blake Lively, and Jenny Slate, and so many more, all saying really, really nasty things about Justin Baldoni. I'll get into that later, but I'm going to go over what this hearing means and why it's so important. And this whole civil suit, just as a refresher, Blake Lively filed it in December of 2024, alleging that Justin Baldoni and his team created this PR smear campaign against her and that they should pay all types of defamatory damages. Okay, let's get into exactly what is happening today. And if all goes well, I should be there in court, in federal court. It's in the Southern District of New York. So the judge will be deciding a bunch of things today. One, whether any claims will get thrown out before trial. So the court is going to be considering whether parts of Blake Lively's lawsuit can be dismissed without a jury. So if the judge finds no genuine dispute of material fact on certain claims, the claims, they end right then and there. They're thrown out. But if the judge finds some factual disputes, then those issues, they must go to a jury. So a dismissal of some of these claims, obviously, would be a huge win for Justin Baldoni. Now, Blake Lively is also asking for sanctions over alleged deleted messages from Justin Baldoni's team. So she and her team are alleging that Justin Baldoni and his team used the Signal app. They're not disputing that, but she's saying they enabled the auto delete and they destroyed evidence tied to this alleged retaliation or quote unquote smear campaign, and they want sanctions. So what Justin Baldoni's team filed in their opposition, they were just like, well, we didn't really know that we had to keep these communications until December 30th, 2024, when she filed that lawsuit. So you can't really fault us for already enabling the auto delete when we didn't know this was a thing. They will also go over what evidence is allowed at trials and whether certain text messages, PR communications, or internal strategy discussions will stay in the case. They will basically determine whether Blake Lively can argue intentional retaliation versus just an ordinary PR response. So, in short, this will determine what the jury is allowed to hear. So for Blake Lively, she obviously wants them to hear that this was an intentional retaliation. And of course, Baldoni, he wants the jury to hear, well, this was just an ordinary PR response to whatever was going on. Now, this trial is already a public spectacle. I mean, it just completely has grasped the public since 2024. I feel like not so much anymore because things have died down. But now that these filings have become unsealed, it's back in the public eye. So they are also going to decide whether or not they will unseal more court filings. So that will be more texts made public, more emails made public, more third parties like Taylor Swift sort of being dragged into this. So yeah, it's a very, very big deal. Also, they are expected to have I think it's a settlement discussion in March of 2026. I don't really see either side settling for anything, but if they were able to reach a settlement, then this trial would not happen in May of 2026. That's when it's supposed to happen. So I feel like Justin Baldoni's team is standing firm, and so is Blake Lively's, but this is just extremely, extremely dramatic. I mean, it is more dramatic than I thought originally after seeing some of these messages. I'll get into it. Let's just get into some of them now. Wow, I'm talking so fast. But I mean, Blake Lively called Justin Baldoni a rabid pig in a text to Colleen Hoover. I mean, Jenny Slate and Blake Lively were texting about Justin Baldoni, where Jenny Slate called him a narcissist and a clown, and Blake Lively agreed. And this also really echoes what Blake said initially, that, other members of the cast felt the same way that I did, but Jenny Slate didn't really come forward before. Sorry, I actually kind of had a burp and I swallowed it. I'm so sorry. That's disgusting. So sorry if you caught that. If you didn't, I just told you. Um, Also, they have they have the whole Taylor Swift exchange. I'm actually going to pull up my Twitter where I went through this, or I sort of just summarized it a bit. So Blake Lively basically said, because she was accused by the defense of basically saying, well, I told Taylor Swift to just defend me and like my rewrite, and she didn't even have to read it, right? Like, I just told her to agree with me. So Blake says in this filing, which I also include right here, she says, and I sent Taylor the script on her way to my apartment because Justin was still there, and I asked her to read them. I told her she didn't have to. I didn't want her to feel pressured to do that, but I hoped that she would. And then Taylor Swift, responds to Lively's request and says, I'll do anything for you. And then Swift meets Baldoni at Lively's apartment, where Swift endorses Lively's revised draft of the script. And then after this was all done, Blake Lively texted her friend Taylor Swift. Sorry, do you like that text? She said, "You were so epically heroic today. I recapped every moment to Ryan. I kept remembering stuff, you making shit up about me and lenses, and referring to yourself as my doll. This clown falling for all of it, but also resisting it. You are the world's absolute greatest friend ever." Wow. So that exchange essentially is admitting, in my opinion, she is admitting that they sort of orchestrated this plan to pressure him with this crazy A-list mega celebrity. And look, I have seen people out there, actually, people even responding to my tweet, who were like, oh man, I used to love Taylor Swift and her music, but I can't believe this, yada, yada. I get that, but I also get, like, you want to have your girlfriend's back, right? I mean, this clearly, in my opinion, was not necessarily the right thing to do, but Taylor Swift didn't have any type of connection to Justin Baldoni. Again, I don't think this was right, but I guess, if we're not talking about mega stars and we're talking about regular people like you and me, it's like, I think about, what would I have done? I don't know. I don't know if I would have I don't know if I necessarily would have exaggerated. I guess Blake Lively seems to think that Taylor really just pumped her up and just, inflated everything and exaggerated. But yeah, I mean, it's not the best look right now for Taylor Swift. But all I'm going to say is, I get it to a degree. I wrote a piece that I will also link out in the episode notes. And you can read this to catch up on everything before, hopefully, I have a recap of what happened in court. But I'm also going to share with you what Blake Lively said, or I'm sorry, Jenny Slate said. She said, about Justin Baldoni. She said her experience on the film was a really gross and disturbing shoot. And she said that Baldoni was a fraud, a false ally, and the biggest clown. There is an actor that does seem to like Justin Baldoni, Isabella Ferreira, I'm sorry. She has said previously that she had a wonderful experience with Baldoni. But let me see if there's anything else that I missed. Yeah, this is the opposition filing. I put a link to that. I mean, yeah, so Blake Lively's team, and it says right here, attorneys for Lively argue the unsealed text and other exhibits show a pattern of unprofessional conduct and efforts to control public messaging that are relevant to her claims. Baldoni's defense contends some texts are being taken out of context and reiterates that the core issue centers on professional differences. I mean, I really would argue that a lot of this stuff is worse for Blake Lively. And I feel like there's a lot to go through on the docket. I mean, there is so much. I mean, again, it would take days, I feel like. But I do think that the media, clearly including myself, is focusing on a lot of these text messages because it's, those were in some of the first couple of dockets. So it was easier to pull, it was easier to read through, but yeah, I'm still sorting through everything. So anyway, I'll have an update on what happens during this explosive hearing, and stay here for any other updates and all the cases that we are following on LA Mag's YouTube, Los Angeles Magazine videos. Like, subscribe, and then head to lamag.com to check out all of our articles.